The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Books, my books. Have you guys ever made a book? Cecilia, have you ever made a book? Have you? Tell me about it.
I want to make a book because I want to go home and read a book.
Well, I have to tell you, I couldn't read when I was 4 years old. I didn't read until first grade, and back in the old days, that's kind of when it all happened. But you guys are so much ahead of the crowd. But I think that would be a fun thing for us to talk about. I'll tell you about the books I write. We can talk about the books you could write. This is my newest book, but I have to tell you, if you've seen this book in the library, this is a book that I wrote that was inspired by a dog I met in Northeastern. Do you guys know who Ed Hands is? I saw him at over in the what do we call that pretty area by the mansion?
Sheep pasture.
Sheep pasture. I saw him, and he was like pushing a dog on a swing, and he was doing all these fun things with his dog. And he was an older man with a big dog. And he says, my dog is very sick, and I want the dog to do some fun things before the dog, goes on to his next adventure. And so I stole his idea, and I made Ed a little girl, and I made his big dog, or his little dog, a big dog. This is how I got to know Kwiset House. Does this look, I know it doesn't look like Kwiset House, but it's the same era. And it was based on a house that I used to ride my bike past when I was a little girl. But this is something fun you can do. If you see a pretty house, you can use that as the setting of your book. Have you written a book yet? Have you ever written a book? No? Have you read a book? Yes. But if you like reading books, the next step is you can write your own book. So sometimes I start with settings. For my new book, How Mr. Silver Stole the Show, I started with a newspaper article that I read, you can see this, November 17th, 2021. Anybody remember where they were in November 2021? Inside. I was reading a lot of old newspapers, and this was actually a story from 1947. It says a stray cat struts into the St. Louis Cat Show and becomes a winner. And I thought, well, that's cute. So 1947 is a long time ago. But what drew me to this story is look at that expression on the cat's face. Look at him, and look at his little paws. What do you think he's thinking, Cecilia? What do you think? Doesn't he look like he's saying, like, what just happened? And what does she look like? How do you think she looks? What do you think her emotion is? How do you think she's feeling? Sad?
Happy.
I think she's happy too. So I thought, what has just happened? What has happened that made the cat look like, what just happened? And make her look so happy. And this is not like a Mona Lisa smile. This is like a big, just sort of unbridled smile. So I read the article. And the story is that an alley cat that wandered into the Hamilton Hotel at 956 Hamilton Avenue 2 days before the Greater St. Louis Cat Club show was to be held there, won first prize in the Best Color for Kittens class and first prize in the non-champion class at the show yesterday. The cat, a male Maltese, was adopted by Miss Marcella Duffy, hostess at the hotel, and named Mr. Silver. Now, I should warn you, this is a story about a childless cat lady. So I'm just putting it out there, that this is what we have here. So if anybody is troubled by that, just fair warning. So I did a little more research. And I highly recommend, there's a website called newspapers.com. Have you ever looked at this? You can look up you can search by name, you can search by city, you can search by subject, and it pulls up newspaper articles about that. Super fun for the next pandemic. Highly recommend it. I am usually very frugal, so I do like the 30-day free subscription, and I do all the research that I need. But I just did a simple question. I did a search, and I said, okay, who was this cat named Mr. Silver, and what did he do in 1947, so long ago? And it was true, there were so many articles about an alley cat who won a contest. Now, I like a contest. Do you? What's your first name?
You.
What's your first name?
What's your name?
Madeline.
Madeline? Like the character in the story? What's your first name?
Emmy.
Emmy? Oh my gosh. Okay. So, do you guys have a cat at home by any chance? You have a cat at home? Oh my gosh. Okay. So, do you know what an alley cat is? Do you know what a stray cat is?
No.
A cat that doesn't have a home? A cat who's just outside running around on his own. So this is a cat who did not have a house, but he found his way into a hotel before this big cat contest. So I was intrigued. So the other newspaper article said, no pedigree, just charm, a stray kitten. Now look at this. Mr. Silver restores faith in catocracy. Come on in, guys. We're telling a cat story. So this is where, as you can see, my technology skills are not strong. I struggle with even building a PowerPoint. But I think if you want to be a writer or an illustrator, it is really helpful to be curious. Now, my new friends, do you have a cat at home?
We do not. She does.
Do you have a cat at home?
I have 2 cats.
Oh my gosh, sit right up here in front, please. My cat lady. All right. So I started looking at this picture more closely. So the story is, what's your first name?
Luna.
Luna. So the story is, this was a stray cat who wandered into a hotel 2 days before a pedigreed cat show. You know what a pedigreed cat show is? For fancy cats who have like papers and who people paid big money for. And this was the hostess at the hotel, and she adopted him. And on a lark, she just decided, what the heck? I'm going to enter this cat in this fancy cat contest. So this is what my first draft looks like when I'm writing a story. This is what my second draft looks like. This is what my third draft looks like. Now I want to know, Luna, what would your teacher say if you turned in a paper that looked like that at school?
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you? My teacher said the same thing. I went to Catholic school. I grew up in Illinois. We were not allowed to make a mess like this. But I have to tell you, if you want to be a writer, making a mess is perfectly okay. Because you know what? It doesn't look like it, but it's actually getting better. Because you know what I'm saying here? I'm saying, especially here, I'm saying, okay, I know I wrote that, but every time you see a cross out, it's me saying to myself, there's a better way to say that. But you have to throw stuff away, don't you, when you're making stuff?
Yeah.
You have to throw it away, and this is perfectly fine. Of course, when I'm writing, I sometimes feel like this. You know, I get cranky. But I want to show you a trick. So Luna, what grade are you going into?
I'm going into 4th.
4th grade. Okay, so this is first I want to teach you, are you going into 1st grade? Are you going into kindergarten or 1st grade? You're going into kindergarten?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And you're not in school yet, are you?
Preschool.
Preschool? Okay. Amy, I want you to be right here. Will you stand right here?
You can go. It's okay.
And Madeline, I want you to be right here. And Luna, I want you to be right here.
Right in the middle, Madeline.
Right here. And Cecilia, I'm going to use you right here. Okay, we've got our whole editorial team. We have Emmy, we have Madeline, we have Cecilia, and we have Luna. Okay. So I want to show you the easy way, and then we'll get more advanced. So I need just 3 ingredients to make a story. I need a main character, and you 2 girls can confer and decide who our main character is going to be. It could be a cat, it could be a dog, it could be a rabbit, it could be a little girl, it could be a dog, it could be a talking pizza. Anything you want. So you guys figure out what the main character. You guys can talk for a minute. You guys can talk. Cecilia, you are going to, guys, figure out what it is. You guys can talk. You can talk. You are going to come up with the problem that the character has. It could be the character is sad. The character wants a friend. The character doesn't know how to read. The character wants to be a movie star. You know what I mean? It could be something the character wants, okay? This is the hard part. This is the part I used to forget when I was your age, Cecilia. Luna, you've got the hardest part of all. You've got to send the character who has a problem on an adventure. Okay? Okay, so let's do it. I'll be your editor. You guys do all the work. I make all the money, okay? That's how publishing works. Can you guys think of a character we can make a story about? Do you guys have a favorite animal? An animal you both like?
Pig. Pig.
I love it. Okay, I'll be the narrator. Once there was a pig. And is the pig a girl or a boy? Does it matter?
Girl.
Girl, okay. Is she an old pig or is she a young pig?
Young.
Okay.
Young.
A young pig. Does she live in a petting zoo or does she live on a farm? Where does she live? On a farm. Okay. And does she have a name? Should we just call her Little Piggy?
Yeah.
Okay. So once there was a little piggy. A little piggy lived on a farm. Does Little Piggy, is there a nice farmer who lives there? Are there some other nice animals? Yeah. Does she have enough food?
Yes.
It sounds like she has a pretty good life. Now, Cecilia, watch what happens when you add your ingredient. One day, Little Piggy woke up and she said, I've got a big problem. I have a nice farmer, and I have a lot of food, and I have some other animal friends, but there's one thing that's wrong with my life. What would it? I'm gonna be. This is gonna make it even more interesting. What is this? What does Little Piggy want more than anything in the world? And I have to tell you, there's no wrong answer here. We can make a story out of anything. What do you think? If you were a little piggy, what would you want to do?
Feed food for the piggies.
Does she want more food? She wants more food for the piggies? I like it. I like it. So she's like still hungry and she sees the other pigs, they get fed, but maybe it's not enough. Okay, so we have a character who has a problem. What is Little Piggy gonna do about it? What do you think? What is she gonna do? Where would she go to get more food?
McDonald's.
I love it. Oh, maybe she's seen a billboard by the farm that says like, is McDonald's Big Mac? Maybe she really wants a Big Mac?
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes to McDonald's and she says, and how many pigs does she live with? Like, how many other pigs? I'm trying to figure out what her order's gonna be.
She can have 2.
2 other pigs? Okay, so there are 3 pigs. So what is she gonna order? 3
Big Macs and fries.
3 Big Macs, 3 order fries. What are they gonna have to drink?
Root beer.
3 root beers and 3 apple pies.
Apple pies.
Do they sell apple pies anymore? This is the old days. McDonald's used to have little apple pies. And is she at the drive-thru or does she actually go inside?
She goes inside.
She goes inside. And they say, okay, that will be $14.72. Do you have that kind of money?
Yes.
Let me see your money. Let me see your money.
No.
And they say, and the woman who's working at McDonald's says, oh, come on, that's not money, that's just straw. Get out of here. And Little Piggy says, but I really want some food. I really want a Big Mac. What could happen next?
She goes back home and she eats the straw.
She goes back home and she eats the straw and she says, this wasn't very delicious. And the next day she goes back to McDonald's and she says, I want 3 Big Macs, 3 order fries, 3 root beers.
She can have 3 French fries.
And French fries, yes. And the woman is there again and she says, I know you don't have any money because you're a pig who lives on a farm, but would you like to work here for one day? And I will pay you $14 and then you could have the food you want?
Yes.
Okay, now it's getting good. Now this pig has a job. And so what could happen next? Let her get into a little bit of trouble.
she didn't get one of the orders right and she got fired.
And perfect. I love it. You've got to keep throwing problems. And so the woman says, look, I was trying to help you out because I know you wanted a Big Mac, but this is not working. You got to get out of here. And just as the little piggy is starting to leave, a robber comes into McDonald's and says to the woman, give me all your Big Macs. Give me all the French fries. Give me all the root beer.
For free.
For free, just give it to me. Give me all the money, give me the cash register. And the woman said, the manager starts to give him. And I forgot to tell you, little piggy is a biter. And what do you think little piggy might do?
Bite.
Little piggy bites the robber, and the robber runs out. And now the woman, the manager at McDonald's says, oh my gosh, little piggy, thank you so much, you saved the day. How can I possibly thank you? Well, what would little piggy like?
She would like her food.
I want some Big Mac, I want French fries, I want root beer, I want apple pie. And the manager says, little piggy, you were so heroic. Would you like to come to McDonald's every Friday and get that order, pick it up and take it back to your friends?
Yes.
Now guys, that's a simple story, but it kind of works, doesn't it? We start with a character, we add a problem. This part was really important, wasn't it? Because if the piggy didn't have a problem, the story wouldn't work. And then the adventure, this is the hard part. You got to do a lot of work here. Well done, guys, have a seat. Have a seat. This is what I do every time when I'm writing a book, especially a picture book, where a picture book really is one character, one problem, one adventure. I don't think of it, I put you in a straight line. When I'm writing a book, I think of it more as a circle. So I start with the main character, and then I add the problem right away. Now, I have to say, Luna, when I was your age and writing books, I was a nice girl like you are, and I didn't want anybody to have a problem. So I'd never put problems in my books, and guess what? My books were very boring. And they got thrown in the garbage by a lot of people. But this is essential. In Hollywood, they call this the want. What does your main character want? And then this is the journey. This is the adventure, right? Most of the story is going to be, the journey is going to go all the way around here. Halfway through a classic story, I usually add a big decision. This would be when little piggy got the job, right? Little piggy gets a job at McDonald's. And then the journey continues, and little piggy is working at McDonald's, and he got the order wrong, and oh no, he's gonna get fired. But oh no, that's when we bring the robber in. We need that oh no moment, right? And little piggy bit the robber, and then we get this aha. So this is how I started doing the story about Mr. Silver, the cat. I did some research about the hotel where Mr. Silver was a stray. He was a stray in the alley behind this hotel. And I start early on with a picture book, I start thinking about titles. I had a book called Stay, so I thought, oh, will this be Stray, a cat, a contest, an unexpected hotel guest? Okay, too many words. Mr. Silver for the win. Mr. Silver takes the gold. Mr. Silver steals the show. When Mr. Silver stole the show. And then how Mr. Silver stole the show. It takes me probably 6 or 7 or 8, but I like the repeat of the OW. And also, it's blue ribbons. I didn't want to confuse it with the gold and the. My sister, who is my illustrator, starts drawing sketches early on. Now you'll notice she doesn't start with color. When you're drawing, do you start with color right away, or do you start with just a line? Do you start with color? That's fun to do, but you know how when I'm writing a story, I'm trying to figure out what the circle is, like the bones of the story. My sister does the same thing. She's trying to figure out kind of the skeleton of the image. So I want to scoot over here and read it to you, and as I'm reading it, I want to see if you guys can see the circle in this story, if I can pull it up here. Let's go here. Mr. Silver stole the show. Oh my goodness, it's not working. Well. Oh my gosh, I might have to show you a different way. We might have to do it. It seems to be locked up here. No, I'm going to show you guys. It's not working this way, but if the little ones can gather around, I'll read it to you this way.
Go ahead.
Now, it would be nice. Oh, let me try it this way. It would be nice if I had copies of the real book.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Of How Mr. Silver Stole the Show? Let me just see if we can make this work. Let's see. Oh my gosh, let's just see. Oh, aren't you good? For some reason it's not working. Let me just try one more quick thing. F8. Oh, there it is. There it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I had so many copies of this, and then the whole childless cat lady thing came, and I ended up giving all these books away. Okay, How Mr. Silver Stole the Show. And actually, as I'm reading it, see if you can see how I start with the main character, a problem, a journey, a big decision, an oh no, and an aha. And also, you have to figure out, when you're writing for young readers, you're always writing for two audiences. You're writing for the child and for the adult. The child reader is going to be focused on this guy. The adult reader is focused on the childless cat lady. And each character has a problem and a journey. So here's how it begins. Think back to a long ago Thursday morning in 1947. Now, 1947, does that mean anything to you? Is that in the days of George Washington?
Yeah.
Later. Is it in the days of cars? Have cars been invented? Yeah, there are cars, but it's pre-internet, pre-color TV. It's back maybe when your grandparents were growing up. Does that sound about right? 1947? Maybe. 1947? Yeah. I bet when your grandparents were young. A cold November rain was lashing the roofs and streets of St. Louis, Missouri. Inside the Hamilton Hotel, guests lingered over their breakfast, while in the kitchen, the staff was busy ironing napkins and polishing silverware. "What lousy weather," said the head waiter. "You got that right," said a young busboy. "It's supposed to rain all day," added the chef. No one noticed the piece of bread burning in the toaster. No one, that is, except Miss Marcella Duffy. She was the hostess of the Hamilton Hotel, one of the city's finest hotels. It was built to accommodate travelers arriving for the World's Fair. From the 1904 World's Fair. Since then, the Hamilton Hotel had welcomed guests from all over the world who came to the hotel expecting first-class service, not the smell of burned toast. "I had a hunch this newfangled toaster would be a problem," Miss Duffy said as she carried the charred toast across the kitchen. She used her hip to open the back door. That's when Marcella Duffy saw him, a dark gray kitten shivering in the alley behind the hotel. "Oh, you poor dear," said Miss Marcella Duffy. "It's too miserable to be outside today. Go home." But the kitten didn't move. He just stared blankly at the hostess. "No collar, huh?" Marcella Duffy said. "What's your name? Where's your family?" The kitten didn't mew or purr. He shifted his gaze to the piece of toast. He reminds me of our little piggy, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. The kitty's hungry. "You must be starving," Miss Duffy said. "We can do better than burn toast." She turned to speak to her colleagues in the kitchen. "Fellas, would you find some table scraps for this stray?" 10 minutes later, the kitten was enjoying a feast. Leftover scrambled eggs, a dollop of cold oatmeal, half an English muffin, even some cream diced chicken. Now I have to say, I had to Google 1947 hotel menu to see what was actually on the menu for breakfast back then. The chef smiled. Now that's my kind of customer. He'll try anything, eat everything, and never complain. The head waiter laughed. You'll be hearing complaints if you don't get back to work. We've got a full house this weekend, and there's a big contest on Saturday. A bunch of fancy cats, I hear. Fancy cats, echoed the chef. Then he whispered to the kitten, I'll take a scrappy stray like you over a fancy cat any day.
Mom.
The fancy cats began arriving later that afternoon. Cats from all over the country were coming to town for the Greater St. Louis Cat Club show. Royalty's Prince Sullen traveled from Jackson, Mississippi. Northland Gray Cloud checked in after a long trip from Hannah, North Dakota. Everyone noticed when Pearl Harbor Yank showed up from Bristol, Tennessee. He was very handsome and very fussy. The staff of the Hamilton Hotel was so busy welcoming the prestigious cats and their nervous companions that no one noticed the stray kitten sneak into the hotel lobby. Not at first, anyway. Hours later, Miss Marcella Duffy spotted the kitten in the kitchen. Who let you in? She cried. Wasn't me, said the busboy. Not me, said the head waiter. I didn't let him in, said the chef, but I'm glad he's here. Hey, kitty kitty, you ever try smoked salmon? The kitten had never even heard of smoked salmon. He liked it immediately. He also liked the way it felt when the chef's daughter stroked his fur. Her name was Louise. She came to the hotel every day after school and on weekends to help her dad. Miss Duffy, said Louise, should I put the cat outside? Miss Duffy hesitated. Yes, no, my goodness, it's still raining. Let him stay inside. I'm sure he won't disturb the guests. The next day was Friday. Many of the fancy cats spent the day being groomed. Other cats rested. Look at this guy. A few enjoyed a leisurely lunch in the hotel dining room. The stray kitten couldn't resist trying to make a furry friend or two. Late in the afternoon, when no one was looking, he slipped into the dining room. Look at the filthy coat on that thing, yelled a man. He smells like garbage, sneered a woman. I, for one, did not travel across the country to fraternize with a foul-smelling feline, growled another man. Get it out of here. They're being so mean, aren't they? Miss Marcella Duffy swooped in just in time. I beg your humble pardon, she said as she scooped up the stray. As hostess, her job was to keep her guests happy and to apologize when anything made them unhappy. Back in the kitchen, Marcella spoke gently to the kitten. I'm so sorry you had to hear that. What they said about you is not true. Who needs them, said the head waiter. Stick with us, kitty. You'll be safe back here. Did you ever try my dad's clam chowder? Asked Louise. I think you'll like it. The Cat Club show began promptly on Saturday morning. The aristocratic cats were divided into categories. When each class was called, the entries were taken from the holding area to the front of the hotel ballroom, where they were evaluated by judges. Whiskers, claws, teeth, fur, even tails were all scrutinized. After every category, a winner was announced. Champion Carl's Pride won Best Manx. Bachelor's Bait won Best Novice. And Pearl Harbor Yank, he was awarded 3 blue ribbons: Best Champion, Best American Bred Cat, and Best in Show. At the end of the day, only 2 blue ribbons were left. What happened next is a mystery. Maybe it was the late hour. Maybe it was because it had been a long and exhausting day. Or Or maybe it was because she simply knew it was the right thing to do. For whatever reason, Miss Marcella Duffy saw in those 2 remaining blue ribbons a chance. This kitten must enter the contest, she announced to the kitchen staff. Yes, I'm quite sure of it. She used a smidgen of soap and a damp dishcloth to wash the cat. Then, using her own hairbrush, she groomed him. Here we go, she said. Wish us luck. That cat doesn't need luck, called the head waiter. He's got personality. Everybody loves an underdog, cheered the chef, especially when he's a cat. Miss Duffy escorted the kitten to the judge's table. Where are the documents acknowledging this cat's pedigree? Asked the first judge. There are no documents, said Miss Duffy. How would you describe his ancestry? The second judge inquired. I wouldn't, replied Miss Duffy. Is he well bred? Pressed the third judge. I haven't a clue, Miss Duffy replied. In that case, said the first judge, we can't possibly consider this. Just then, Louise entered the ballroom. Why can't you give him a chance? She asked. He's the sweetest cat here. Louise was right. There was something about the kitten. Even the judges could see it once they gave him a closer look. This cat was scrappy. He was curious. He was downright charming. After conferring for several minutes, the judges awarded the stray kitten not 1, but 2 blue ribbons. The kitchen staff banged pots and pans to celebrate. Louise grabbed a handful of silverware and jangled it loudly. Quiet, please, scolded the first judge. To make this official, I must know the name of this cat. His name? Asked Miss Duffy, biting her lip. She had no idea what the kitten's name was. But then her eyes locked on Louise and the shiny silverware she was holding. His name? Said Miss Duffy slowly. Oh, that's easy. The cat's name is Mr. Silver. 2 days later, Mr. Silver made the front page of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. No pedigree, just charm, sang the headline of the St. Louis Star-Times. Alley Cat wins contest honors, purred the Cedar Rapids Gazette. The newspaper was like catnip. No one could resist it. Nearly 100 newspapers across the United States and Canada ran the story of Mr. Silver's victory, along with his photograph. Mr. Silver was famous, but he was still a stray without a home. Mr. Silver couldn't stay at the Hamilton forever. It was a hotel for well-heeled people, not stray kittens. No one knew what to do. This is almost like my oh no. This is where the robber comes in. This is my oh no of the story. No one knew what to do. No one, that is, except Miss Marcella Duffy. She took Mr. Silver to her apartment. As hostess of the Hamilton Hotel, Miss Duffy knew how to make any guest feel welcome. But of course, Mr. Silver was no longer Miss Duffy's guest. He was something much better. He was family. They were home. So now, this note from the author is such a handy thing to have in the back of a picture book, because I have to explain that I took a few liberties with the story. I don't know if the chef at the hotel had a daughter named Louise. I don't know if the sound of jangling silverware gave Miss Duffy the idea to name him Mr. Silver. But I do know that in 1947, St. Louis, it was segregated. A girl who looked like Louise would not have been able to come into a dining room. It was just for white people. Do you know this? And even like Marcella Duffy, she had had the vote for 20-some years, but she couldn't open her own hotel. The women couldn't borrow money back then. So I say right here, it's the job of adults to make and change laws, but I think it's young people who change the culture. Children like my fictional Louise and real life you are often able to see the world not as it is, but as it should be. And then I note that in the next year, Mr. Silver entered and won 6 awards and 2 first prizes. And I say, sometimes hope comes on little cat feet. But did you see my circle in that story? So this makes it so easy. Luna, have you written books at home? Do you like the circle idea or the 1-1-1, the one character, one problem, one adventure strategy?
Yeah.
To me, it makes it easier because you'll notice I don't say a character who has a problem and then has a solution. The part that you did, the adventure, is always the most interesting part of the story. What about you, Madeline? If you were to write a book, would you start with a pig? Well, you could start with any character you wanted. You could start with a little girl named Madeline. And then be like, oh, what would be, there's a girl who was afraid of the dark, or who really wanted her parents to give her a horse. You know what I mean? And then you could write about the adventure. Super, super fun thing. Cecilia, what about you? Do you want to come up and do all the parts? Come on, I'll help you. The fun thing about being a writer is you get to do all these pieces yourself. So let's just start at the beginning. Start here. Do you want to be the narrator or shall I?
The character.
You want to, okay, but I'll be the narrator and you're going to give me the character and we'll build the story. So once there was what should we start with?
First, we need to start with a cow.
A cow. Once there was a cow whose name was...
He will name his Bella.
Oh, is it a he or a she? Or does it matter? Bella?
She name her is a she.
She's a she. Is she old? Is she an old cow who walks with a cane? Or is she a little cow?
She's a little cow.
Okay, maybe she's a calf named Bella. And Bella lives city or country?
In a country.
In the country. Does she have a nice family?
Yeah.
Does she have a lot of friends?
Yep.
Does she have enough food? But one day she wakes up and she says, I know I've got a lot of nice things, but there's something I really want. It might be fun if she wanted a friend, wouldn't it?
She can have a lot of friends.
Does she have enough friends? Does she want like a best friend? Sometimes that's a good story. Or is there something else she might want? You like a best friend?
Yeah.
Okay, so here comes her adventure. Well, I know what she's looking for, a best friend. So she goes up to the horse and she says, hi, I'm Bella. I'm just a little calf and I'd like a great big best friend. Would you like to be my best friend? Now wait, if the horse says yes, our story's over. So let's keep going. What if the horse says, no?
No.
You're too little. I'm big. I have a nice fluffy tail. You don't have a tail. I don't want to be friends.
We can do that.
Okay, and then she gives up. Then Bella goes over and she sees, who else would she see on the farm?
She can see, she can see a cow.
She can see a cow, okay. And she sees, maybe it's a big bull. What do you think about that? And Bella says, I know I'm just a little calf, but I'd like a nice best friend. Would you like to be my friend? And the bull says, I don't think so. I'm 10 years old and you're only 1 year old. I can't be.
And we can do a ducky.
Oh, a duck. So she goes, she's feeling very sad because she doesn't have a friend. So she walks over. Emmy, will you be the little ducky? Be a cute little ducky. Come be a ducky. Quack, 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 quack. And Bella the calf comes over to the duck and says, what would Bella say?
She can stay. She can go and eat some food.
Yeah, and she says, well, little ducky, would you like to be my friend and have some food with me and we could have a little play date? What would the duck say? Up to you. Yes or no? Okay, this is a tough story. So then, oh no, you know how we could make it if we want to throw in a no-no? What if the little calf, it's late, and the calf comes up, and the calf has never seen this animal before, but it's gray, and it has a snout, and it goes, how does it go? And the calf says, I've never seen you before, but would you be my friend? Maybe we could have some food together. Maybe we could have dinner together. And the wolf says, oh yeah, I'd like to have you for dinner. Oh my gosh. And the wolf takes the little Bella calf back to the wolf's house. And the wolf says, we're gonna have a delicious dinner. And Bella the calf says, what are we having for dinner? And the wolf says, stew. Are we gonna let the wolf eat Bella?
No.
No. The wolf starts to put Bella into the big soup pot. And the wolf is old and has a bad back. And the wolf pulls a muscle on his back and he says, oh my goodness, I gotta put you down, you're too heavy. And Bella is such a sweet calf and she says, oh, can I give you some little tickles on your forehead? Can I take care of you? Can I make you a sandwich? And Bella the calf takes care of the wolf all night long. And the next morning the wolf says, oh, I feel better now. And Bella says, oh, can we have that nice meal together? And the wolf says, well, I have to be honest. Guess who I was gonna eat? And Bella says, are you really gonna eat me? Well, Luna, what do you think the wolf would say? I was gonna eat you, but you were such a good friend to me. Instead of having stew, why don't we just have, you wanna have peanut butter and banana? Yeah, let's do that. And then Bella says, so are you my friend? And the wolf says, of course I'm your friend and you're my hero. You say you were such a good friend to me last night. Now this is a nice friendship story, isn't it? And it's a 1-1-1 story, but I kind of made a circle out of it. So you could go home. Can you draw pictures of a cow? I think you could. You could just make it look like a hot dog and put some legs on it.
Like this.
You could totally do that. Totally do that. Have a seat, my friend. Excellent. Excellent. So that's how I work. Anybody have questions? I told you about Bear Books, which is a fun way to make books. Luna, I bet there's going to be a lot of writing in 4th grade. Do you think? You might have to write a back to school story. When you're writing it, just remember a character, a problem, and a journey. And then I like that big decision about halfway through.
What I need.
Any other questions before we head out? Thank you you guys did all the hard work.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Now, of you two, I write and my sister illustrates. Who is going to be the illustrator in this pair? Who's going to be the person who draws the pictures? Is that Madeline or Emmy? Are you going to be the illustrator? Emmy, are you going to write the words? Maybe you could dictate to your dad. You could do like a family book. That would be super fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming. Questions about my books or your books? Tell me, question?
How we make the cover.
You know what I used to use when I was a kid? Do you have any notebooks at home that have this kind of cardboard? I bet you do. Cardboard is a great book cover. And then you can cut it off here. And the fun thing about making books at home, say you made the book about the pig, you could get a cereal bowl and trace a circle, and you can make your book in the shape of a pig. Wouldn't that be cute? And you could glue on some ears and put a little hole punch here, and then get another piece of cardboard and make the back cover, and then tie this up with a string. It'd be cute if you could make that look like that pig's tail. And then, you can make the pig, well, I don't know why I'm giving them glasses, but you know what I mean? And your cover of the book could look like a pig, which would be so fun. Why did I give him glasses? I don't know. I messed up on the eye, so I just turned them into glasses.
They really illustrated Kate.
I know, I'm not the illustrator, obviously. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Can you think of something else you could use for a book cover? I think you want something kind of stiff. Something kind of harder than the inside paper. And then for the inside paper, just use regular old computer paper, right?
Or maybe if you don't have that cardboard, you can just grab an Amazon box and cut it.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. Perfect.
Good, good.
Good idea. And then get a hole punch, or a hole punch is nice because you can use yarn or string. Stapler is good too, but stapler doesn't bind as well, I think, as a hole punch. Cecilia, what's your book going to be about? Who's your main character going to be in your story, Cecilia? Cow?
You want a book about a cow?
Cow?
She can name her Ellie.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Question.
Or you can just use a binder.
You could use a binder. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have to tell you, I started making books when I was about this age, but it wasn't until I was 30-something before I figured out the circle and how to do a book that I could actually sell to somebody. So if you guys could get a head start, that would be fantastic.
How long did it take you to write this book?
I wrote this one very quickly. And then I spent about a year rewriting because I'm always, when I see serious illustrations, I notice that I'm always trying to get rid of as many words as I can. So it's always longer when I write the first drafts. Picture books are the ones that celebrities write because there aren't many words and they seem easier. Picture books are hard for me because you have to tell a story that evokes an emotion and you only have about 1,000 words. To me, it's much easier to write 30,000 words and I can really get a lot of characters in. What kind of books do the little ones like? This one.
Oh. Anything right now. I think just because it's me reading it to them.
Exactly.
Just happy and as long as there's excitement in my
Yes. Maurice Sendak used, when parents would come through and say, "Oh, my son or daughter loves this book," Maurice Sendak would always say, "Your child would love the phone book if you read it to them." It's the reading together. Yes.
Have you brought the child to the library?
Oh yeah, we're really.
Frequent flyers.
She's good, isn't she?
Oh yes.
Not Hannah. She's very good.
Yeah.
This morning, she's excellent.
It's such a leg up if you have someone who's a enthusiastic reader. I mean, it makes life so much easier. It makes school easier.
Yeah.
It makes everything easier and more fun too, I think. Yes.
So your sister is drawing books. So do you write it first and then she draws it, or do you have it in mind and tell her what she has to draw, or does she draw it?
I like to have it pretty well. The page turns in a picture book become part of the story. It's part of the pacing. So some illustrators just get the whole Word document and they divide it up. But I'm a bit of a control freak. I give her page 2 to 3, this, and then I tell her what I envision. But she takes everything to another level. And she did a lot of research about what 1947 looked like. Just in terms of appliances and vibe. I had to tell her at one point, where is it, that St. Louis doesn't have, she lives in California, so she was giving me kind of California-looking trees. We don't have a lot of trees that look like this in Missouri, but that's okay. That's okay. She's always going for more of a vibe. You can take certain liberties. But I have to say, she didn't take real art classes until she got out of college. She was a history major, but my parents wanted her to have a liberal arts education. But she was always a kid in 4th grade who would find her favorite book and then get tracing paper and trace over it. Do you ever do that? I think kids think tracing paper is cheating, but that's how you kind of learn how to do the little tricks that illustrators do. She would do it over Stuart Little, Charlotte's Web, 21 Balloons. What else? Questions? Comments? I hope you guys have some ideas for books you'd like to read. I think for this age, starting with animal characters is always an easier way to go because there are so many fun animal stories you can write. And it's funny sometimes if you give them a human problem, a bunny who's afraid of the dark, or a dog who's nervous about the first day of school, right? Or a dog who doesn't know who to sit with in the school cafeteria. That could be fun. Do you make up stories with the kids at night, or do you stick to?
No, I mostly stick to books.
You stick to yes.
We read every night.
Oh, that's great. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Well, I'm happy to sign copies of books if you have them. As I say, I didn't bring any, but if I'm here for 2 weeks, if anybody wants to pick up a book on Amazon or something, I'm happy to sign it if somebody wants to do that. Or I'm sure there's a book at the library if you want to just check it out and enjoy it.